Okay, so for our agenda today, we're talking just briefly about who Treehouse Interactive is. And I'm going to introduce you to Rebel Brown, who will be our presenter today. She's going to talk about why positioning matters, why it's not about you anymore, and she's going to talk about the most important marketing questions, so I think that will be an interesting conversation. She'll also talk about the positioning matrix, spinning all those threads together of the information that she talks about, and tying up some loose ends. So launching in right to who Treehouse Interactive is. And, you know, the whole reason that we do this webinars is to actually help marketers be more effective in what they do. We're actually a software as a service company. We have 3 products. The first is a demand generation marketing automation product called Marketing View. I have another product that is a partner portal or partner relationship management piece of software called Reseller View. And then we also have a third product that is for Salesforce automation and built specifically for people that sell through the channel, SalesView. So we've been around since '97, headquartered in Salt Lake City. We're privately held and profitable, which is pretty unique in the industry. In fact, we've been profitable for about about 43 straight quarters. So we have customers all the way from startups to Global 1,000 companies. So let me introduce you to Rebel Brown. I actually first met Rebel through Twitter and through reading her blog. She is the CEO and chief spin doctor of People Who Know. She works with startups, turnarounds, and start-arounds. She specifically works in B2B markets. She's been consulting for over 20 years and has over 100 clients, C-level executives, board of directors, venture capitalists. She is an author, speaker, blogger. So with that, I will hand it off to you, Rebel.
Thanks, Chris. Today we're going to talk about positioning, and we're going to talk about how to create positioning that will work in any environment with any customer situation, and we're also going to talk about why it's not about you anymore. So first, let's talk about positioning and why positioning matters. Positioning is the most important thing we do, period. Now, I should say that's next to making a profit, but positioning drives those profits. Positioning drives everything. It drives our brand and our appeal in the market. It compels our potential customers to be curious about us, to want more clarity, to want to come and talk to our sales force. The best products in the market do not always win. The best thing that wins is the best positioning. And I'm sure we can all look out in the market today and see companies that have not really the best products, and yet they are the market leaders. And why is that? That's because they have great positioning. They tell stories to their customers that are compelling and engaging. So today we're going to talk a little bit about how to build those stories. And the first thing we want to talk about is that, you know, people buy because of perception. They buy because of their experiences, because of the stories they've heard from other folks in their industries, from their friends, their coworkers. Positioning creates those stories. It helps create those perceptions. And if we create stories that resonate with our audiences and that touch them personally about something that's important to them, that's when we get interest. The right stories will catch them, and they'll keep them coming back for more. However, there's a rule that we all have to follow when it comes to positioning, and that is that it's not about you anymore. It is not about us. Information is freely available thanks to Web 2.0, thanks to social media, thanks to blogs, thanks to websites. Everything a customer needs to know is available to them, and we have very little control over what's out there. We can control our own website, but we cannot control the third-party things that are out there, the social media that's out there. And we also can't control the information that buyers get, because buyers can go out and find evidence, credible facts, and not marketing claims. All it takes is a search engine, 30 seconds, and they are off and running. They can also go out to the people that they know who are their friends and associates and find out information about ourselves, about other vendors, about competitors. They can go to experts. They can go to consumer reports. They can go to analysts. They can find out what they need to know. So we can no longer take the role of, gee, we're going to go out and thump our chests and talk about everything we know and everything that's great about us, because, quite frankly, we blew it. We blew our credibility with all those claims that we didn't live up to, And consequently, what we have is a much more empowered buying audience, and we also have a much more cynical audience. Quite frankly, we have 10 seconds to get their attention. If we don't get their attention that fastly, they're moving on to somebody else. So our stories can be longer, but we have to have that catch factor, as my friend Ardith Albee writes about, the catch factor that intrigues them and gets them to want to come in and know more about us. When they do want to know more about us, what we want to do is we want to talk about them. We want to talk about our experience with people like them, customers like them. We want to show them that we understand their business, that we've helped others in the same situation as they are, that we have experience and it's an action in the marketplace. Our stories need to be based on third-party evidence, heavily based on that, because those stories from others like our potential buyers are what help them to see us in action, see why they should trust us, and why they should partner with us. Now, the other thing to remember is that every position is unique. There's a lot of people that say, oh, here's this one-size-fits-all approach, here's step-by-numbers. They don't work. We use the words, we'll follow that strategy, but then we go back and we change the behaviors. We don't change our behavior, and we go back and we tell the same stories over and over again. We also don't get the chance, when we use those one-size-fits-all positioning, to tune our stories to the situation at hand. You see, every situation we walk into when we want to tell our story is unique. Our stories have to be, and they have to form in different ways to match our audience. So we have to think about our stories more as an art and not our science, because every market situation is a canvas, and we get to paint a story that is a unique picture that matches that specific customer's needs, that specific situation. We have to have different approaches for different problems and different scenarios. For example, if I'm a startup, I don't have a lot of evidence in the market and a lot of customers. So what I have to point to is my evidence of my executive's credibility, talk about the unique thing that I'm delivering and the different approach that I have. Sometimes I have to make up scenarios to show where the value applies. That's a very different situation than if I'm a mature company that's in a growth situation where I have lots of customers, lots of success evidence, so I'm going to focus on that. That is a very different situation than if I'm a turnaround where I have, I have customers and I have a history, but I also have some negative things that I need to address, and I may be, in fact, changing what my value propositions are. So I have to focus on creating stories and positioning that's unique to the specific audience so that it plays my specific role and my specific value, and it also tunes it and tells a story that is important to that audience. Now, as I create my stories, the most important marketing question ever is, so what? All right, it's the key to all messaging. It's the key whether it's your messaging is about your product, your company, or your market. And the so what question helps us make the transition from me, chest-thumping marketing claims about feeds and speeds, our own claims about ourselves, and it helps us transform so that our messaging is about customer value. Because we answer the so what question from the eyes of the beholder, from our customer's standpoint. Let's say we have a claim about a feature, a product, our market expertise. It's not about us. We want to ask the so what question. So what does that mean to our customer? What does that value, what does that thing that we deliver provide as value to our customer base? I always make up a sign when I go into a new client, and it says, so what? Or if I'm doing a strategy session, I write it on the board. And as people come up, and we're in a brainstorming session, and people are coming up with great things about their company, I point to that and say, so what? And we dig and we dig and we dig until we finally get to the so what answer, which is what's in it for the customer. And that's when we know we have the right message. So in everything we do, we ask, so what?